Yes. Say hi to Tay-Tay for me.
You call it Tay-Tay too?
He stayed in shape. He did a lot of dancing at his wedding.
Maybe there's some subliminal part of seeing them get married that makes me want to have a version adjacent to marriage.
Travis Kelce walked onto a football field for the first time as a married man, and within hours, the entire internet was arguing about his body. The Kansas City Chiefs opened their first full training camp practice on July 29th, and all eyes were on the tight end reporting for his 14th season. That was less than a month after marrying Taylor Swift at Madison Square Garden. Cameras caught every angle of him walking down to the practice fields, running routes and working through drills, and almost immediately, the footage split the internet down the middle. One group of fans looked at the clips and decided he had never looked better. They pointed to a fingertip catch he hauled in from his quarterback during 7-on-7 drills, calling it a flash of the player he was at his peak. Comments poured in describing him as looking leaner than the previous year. People were saying things like vintage Kelce is back, that he was moving differently, and joking that married life clearly agrees with him. One fan simply wrote that he was looking lean. Another suggested the team is getting prime Kelce this season. But another group looked at the exact same footage and came to the opposite conclusion. In one clip from that first day, some viewers were convinced they could see a bit of a stomach on him, and the comments got harsh fairly quickly. One person joked that since he will be away from his wife for a few weeks, he can use the time to get in shape and lose the belly. Another asked why he always seems to arrive at camp looking out of condition. There was also a separate clip of him catching his breath during practice that fueled the same argument. Here's the part that most of those critics missed, though. Multiple people watching the same video pointed out that what looked like added weight around his midsection was almost certainly an abdominal protector worn underneath his jersey. That is a standard piece of padding plenty of players wear, which would mean the entire weight gain narrative was built on a piece of protective equipment. And that is genuinely funny, because the man's own body has been a running joke between him and Taylor before. He once appeared on his sister-in-law's podcast and jokingly blamed his wife for weight he had put on. He explained with a completely straight face that he had broken one of Taylor's chairs, thanks to the pounds he gained from eating her homemade sourdough bread, before adding that at least his gut health was excellent. So the idea of Travis putting on weight because of his relationship is not new territory. It is a bit he has leaned into himself.
I broke Taylor's chair with the weight I gained from her sourdough. Good gut health, though.
That's true love.
Love you.
His own teammates were considerably kinder than the internet. Linebacker Drew Tranquill, asked about seeing Travis heading into year 14, offered what might be the best summary anyone has given. He said Travis looks young, described him as looking spruce, and then landed the observation that ties it all together. He said he looks like a guy who just got married. And honestly, that reads as more accurate than either extreme in the online debate. Not leaner, not heavier, just visibly happy.
Looks young, man. Looks spruce. Looks like a guy who just got married. He's looking good. He's looking good.
The person whose opinion actually matters most weighed in too, and he settled the whole thing. Head coach Andy Reid was asked directly how Travis looked at that first practice, and his answer was straightforward. He said Travis looked pretty good, that he had stayed in shape over the break, and then delivered the line that has been quoted everywhere since. He did a lot of dancing at his wedding, given that guests have described a reception that ran for hours with performances from actual music legends that may genuinely qualify as off-season conditioning.
Yeah, he looked pretty good, Yeah, it looked pretty good. He stayed in shape. He did a lot of dancing at his wedding.
Reid did not stop at the joke either. He went on to praise what Travis brings to the building at this stage of his career, describing him as a great leader who works hard and genuinely wants to be out there participating in everything. Reid explained why that matters so much for the younger players around him. He pointed out that when a veteran of that stature is grinding through every single rep, it becomes very difficult for anyone else to justify taking one off. And if someone does try to sneak away, according to Reid, Travis simply pulls them right back in.
He's a great leader, and he works so hard, and he wants to be in there. For a young guy to look at that, and then it's hard for them to make an excuse to take a rep off because he's out there going, and if they try to get sneaky, he yanks them back in there.
That kind of presence carries real weight heading into this particular season. Kansas City finished last year at 6-11, missing the playoffs for the first time in a decade, in a campaign that also saw their quarterback tear his ACL. Travis returned on a deal that effectively amounts to one more year, and plenty of people around the sport have openly wondered whether this is his final run. Whether or not that is true, he did not show up looking like a man planning to coast. While the football world debated his physique, one wedding guest was busy revealing she left the ceremony with actual injuries. Sports broadcaster Charissa Thompson attended the July 3rd wedding alongside her longtime friend and podcast co-host Erin Andrews. She recently explained what happened to her that night. She had chosen a spectacular gown for the occasion, a nude-colored dress covered entirely in silver crystals, the kind of shimmering mirror ball look that lands you on every best-dressed list, which it did. What nobody could see in the photographs was the damage it was quietly doing. The problem came down to the prongs. Each individual crystal was held in place by a tiny metal setting, the same way a stone sits in a ring, beautiful while standing still. Considerably less beautiful once the dancing starts, and by every account there was an enormous amount of dancing at this wedding. Thompson described looking down halfway through the night and realizing her forearms were bleeding. Not scratched. Bleeding.
This dress was great. However, you know, there's prongs on like the jewel, like a ring, right? Like a setting.
I forgot about that.
The prongs were holding in all of the individual jewels. Halfway through the night, I'm looking and my forearms are bleeding.
The prongs had been slicing her arms open every time she moved, and she had been so swept up in the celebration that she never noticed it happening. She described it as constant scraping, the settings quite literally cutting her skin as the night went on. She recalled her own bewilderment in the moment as she pieced together that her own outfit was the culprit.
I was like, what is going on here? It was because every time I went on the side, which by the way, there was a lot of movements because, you know, I like it was scraping the prongs on my arms. And so it was like slicing them open.
Her date boyfriend, Stephen Kundary, did not escape either. Those same prongs kept catching on his tuxedo every time the two of them danced, pulling threads loose one after another. She compared it to getting a run in a pair of stockings, that same catch and pull effect, except happening repeatedly across an expensive tuxedo all evening. By the end of the night, she was seeing loose strings everywhere. She joked that she now owes the man an entirely new tux, and that he probably wants to kill her over it.
It was also slicing Steve's tuxedo open because each prong would grab a little bit of his tuxedo.
Oh no.
And there was like, you know, when you get a run in my pantyhose, you get a little run like in a shirt or something, and that just pulls, and now it has disrupted the whole look. For Steve, which was a really nice tux, I owe him a tux, because, which by the way, he's so appropriate, he would never say that. But we know my man was excited about his tux.
Then she said the thing that makes the whole story land. It was worth it. Because despite the bloodied arms and the ruined tuxedo, Thompson could not stop praising the night itself.
And by the end of the night, I'm seeing these strings all over. My arms are bleeding, but guess what? Worth it. Steve, I'll get you a new tux.
She called the wedding magical, congratulated the couple, and then deliberately declined to say much more. She noted that this is the point where everyone stops talking because strange headlines tend to follow.
Congratulations to both of them. It was magical. It was all the things. And this is the part where we say we're not going to say too much because these weird headlines come out of us saying nothing.
What she did want to highlight was less obvious than the spectacle. She appreciated that Taylor and Travis managed to gather everyone in one place. She described how fun it was to see their whole friend group together, hanging out in hotel lobbies and doing things as a group across an entire week rather than just one evening. Andrews agreed, saying she was thrilled to finally meet people from both of their lives she had heard about for years, and that everyone she encountered was genuinely lovely. These two are not casual acquaintances either. Thompson and Andrews have been real friends with the couple for years, to the point that the whole group vacationed together in Montana during a previous off-season. So their read on the night carries more weight than polite praise from a distant guest. And the wedding had one more effect on Thompson that she did not see coming. She has been open in the past about having no interest in getting married a third time. Then she watched two of her friends exchange vows, and something shifted. She admitted there may be some subliminal part of witnessing that ceremony that has her wanting a version of it for herself.
Maybe there's some subliminal part of seeing them get married that makes me want to have a version adjacent to marriage and the commitment ceremony.
She floated the idea of a commitment ceremony with her boyfriend rather than a traditional marriage. Her reasoning was genuinely lovely. Watching them get married reminded her that when you find your person, everything else in the world falls into place.
Watching them get married, I'm like, when you find your person, everything else in the world is right. And that, to me, that night and that weekend really was a reminder that you can have everything in the world, but if you don't have the person to share it with, then it's not worth anything.
The entire week served as a reminder that you can have everything imaginable, but without someone to share it with, none of it is worth much. That is a fairly remarkable outcome for one wedding. Bloodied arms, a ruined tuxedo, and a woman reconsidering her entire stance on commitment. The best moment from training camp, though, had nothing to do with physiques or drills at all. After one practice session, Travis stayed behind to sign autographs for the crowd lined up along the hill to watch players come and go. In the middle of it, one young fan called out a request that had nothing to do with football. They asked Travis to say hi to Tay-Tay for them. Travis did not miss a beat, turning to ask, genuinely delighted, whether they call her Tay-Tay too.
Yes. Say hi to Tay-Tay for me.
You call it Tay-Tay too?
It is maybe 5 seconds of interaction, and yet it captures exactly where this man's life sits right now. He is a future Hall of Famer entering what could be his final season, carrying a team trying to recover from its worst year in a decade, with the entire internet dissecting his waistline, and a kid at the fence wanted to talk about his wife's nickname. He seemed thrilled about it. Pulling it all together, here's where things stand. Travis reported to camp on July 29th and immediately became the subject of an online debate about his physique. One camp insisted he looks leaner than ever and called it vintage Kelce, while others claimed he had put on weight. That argument was countered by several people pointing out he was almost certainly wearing an abdominal protector under his jersey. Teammate Drew Tranquil said he simply looks young and spruce, like a guy who just got married. Coach Andy Reid ended the debate by confirming he stayed in shape and joking that the wedding dancing did the work while praising his leadership. Charissa Thompson revealed her crystal-covered gown, left her forearms bleeding, and destroyed her boyfriend's tuxedo across the reception. That damage she considers entirely worth it, and she admitted the wedding has her rethinking her long-held stance against marrying again. And at the fence after practice, a young fan asked Travis to pass along a hello to Tay-Tay, prompting a delighted response. Nearly a month after the ceremony, the arguments about Travis Kelce's waistline will resolve themselves the moment the season starts. Everything else that keeps surfacing, though, has been remarkably warm. A friend who bled through a wedding and called it worth every drop. A coach joking that dancing counts as cardio. A kid at a fence asking about a nickname for a wedding guarded like a fortress. The details escaping it keep making this couple look better, not worse. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.